vision goes black. All I hear is screaming in my head. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So it's been about a week since I've hopped on the steroids, and I would just like to fill you guys in on how my experience has been. So in the last video I talked about how I was like gonna go squat 405 and I was all hyped. Got there, my shoulder was actually really sore from the pinning, and my rib was really bothering me as well, so I didn't end up squatting over 315 that day. Had a couple other workouts, and again, those other couple workouts, I just wasn't feeling well, like either like a lot of shoulder pain or rib pain or something. Just it wasn't entirely the best workouts. My Valentine's Day workout, which was kind of an upper body but more of like an arm day kind of thing, that one went really well. My arm days have been going very well. It's the other body parts they haven't, like back day has been going pretty decent, but my last back day last night I kind of had to rush and I ended up messing up my lower back a little bit, so I'm hoping that doesn't mess up my squats again tomorrow. All my other workouts, nothing crazy. My chest has just been feeling like I'm able to work it out now, but it just feels weaker and it's annoying, so I'm trying to feel stronger. I don't know, I've just been feeling weaker in general, but that's also because I cut my calories quite significantly recently, so that could be impacting my strength as well. But as for like how this has been affecting me, my shoulders that's where I was doing it at first, were getting pretty swollen, to the point where like you could see the redness and you could see that it was getting swollen. And I was actually starting to get acne around my shoulder area and my back a lot, which isn't too common for me. And for some reason my left side, it always hurts more when I do my left side versus the right. No matter what it is, it always hurts more on the left. So I actually have a kind of a scary story about what happened. So my first time doing it by myself, because the first time I did it, as you guys might know, I think I've talked about, I had someone come over, bring everything over, and they kind of showed me what to do, and I did it to myself, but they kind of told me where to do it and everything. My second time, I was by myself. So I was like kind of nervous, texting my friends. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do it by myself, see how it goes. So I was literally sitting like right here, like facing this way, I had everything here. And I had my arm like this, and I go, all right, let me just go. And I'm like, oh, this looks like a good spot. Stick it in. I'm like, oh, okay, and take it out. I'm like, oh, wow, it's bleeding a lot. I bleed a lot, but like, last time I did it didn't really bleed that much. Cleaned it up, whatever. Text my friends, I was like, all right, yeah, guys, it went well, like everything's good. Sat here for a second, and I was like, man, I'm feeling a little lightheaded. Man, I'm feeling really lightheaded. And I thought I was going to throw up, so I go and I cover my mouth. And then I just remember kind of sliding back a little bit, and then vision goes black. All I hear is screaming in my head, and I can hear banging. I woke up, like, sprawled out in this chair, like, down, like my head was, like, almost where, like, your butt sits in the chair. Like, I almost fell out of the chair, basically. Covered in sweat, and I'm, like, feeling really weird, like my whole body feels numb. I immediately got up, dove to my bed, and like rolled up in a blanket, and I was like freaking out. I was like, what the heck just happened to me? Because I realized, I was like, that wasn't normal. Like, what the heck just happened to me? And I was like, I realized that banging I was hearing was my body hitting my table over here and hitting everything. So my body was like seizing. I was like, I just had a seizure. I'm like, holy shit, I just had a seizure. So I texted everyone. I was like, guys, I just had a seizure. Like, what the hell happened? I explained everything. They're like, oh, that's anxiety from everything. I was like, no. Like, I've had anxiety attacks and, like, anxiety. Like, I've never seen that ever happen in anyone. I was like, that was literally a seizure. Did a little research. I must have hit a nerve. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because you hit a nerve, it cuts off, like, connections to your brain that would cause a seizure. So my seizure was about 30 to 40 seconds. And I'm like, why'd that happen? I immediately thought, I'm like, I'm an idiot. For those who don't know, when you do pin yourself, you're supposed to keep your muscles relaxed, not contracted, not tight. You have to be very relaxed, which is kind of hard when you're doing something a little nerve-wracking, especially the first time. But you have to keep yourself pretty relaxed. My arm was resting on this armrest, like this. Your shoulders contracted. When you do your shoulders, your arm is supposed to be straight, like this. Like, totally relaxed and straight. The way I was even shown was putting your arm on a table, so having your whole arm rest on a table with your shoulder on the table and just relax. But I, for some reason, wasn't thinking, had my arm on this armrest trying to like do it, and I hit a nerve and I had a seizure. And I still had to pin the other side because when you're doing your shoulders, you can't do too much in one side. Your muscles can't really take it. If you have bigger muscles, you probably can, but my shoulders aren't massive. They're not open bodybuilder size, so I wouldn't really feel comfortable trying to do that. Especially with how my shoulders have been reacting, no way in hell I would try to do that. So I had to do one more. So I called over a different friend from that night, and I was like, hey, could you come over after work before we go to the gym, and can you just make sure I don't die? And they're like, well, yeah, why? What happened? And I explained that I had a seizure. So they were like here, watched me, like I go on the table, did everything, and like it hurt a lot because again my left shoulder just hurts a lot. They watched me and they were like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And then I sat down and I was like, I'm good, I feel good, I'm ready. Go to the gym, whatever, did my workout. Again, wasn't the best. And then this left shoulder after then grew like 2 times the size, completely red, hurt, itched, like was crazy, got so swollen. Like I looked pretty stupid because like if you noticed, like one shoulder would be this like bigger than the other, and it was just kind of annoying. So I was like, that's it. I need to just get glute pins. Like I need to get needles for my ass because like that's where I originally wanted to do it. It seemed like the safest and easiest spot, and it just so happened we didn't have needles long enough. So I ordered a bunch for myself, like that were long enough. They came Friday night, and then I did my Friday night injection with the glute, and I was like, perfect. But that seizure was Monday night. I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The glute injection was Friday. That leaves my Wednesday injection. Both shoulders completely swollen and sore. No way I can pin them. My only options: tricep, trap, or rear delt. I was pretty confident I could do trap. My friends were like, no way we would ever try trap. I'm like, okay, I guess I won't try trap. Tricep, I just don't have that big of triceps, so I don't feel comfortable with it. And it's also like something I'm not too certain where a good spot would be. So I wasn't sure about that. But rear delt, I'm like, okay, I can do that. Can't, as you can see, really reach my rear delt. So what I end up doing, that friend that came over and watched me pin the last time, they came over again. And I was like, big favor, can you stick this in my shoulder? They were so nervous. They started on the left side, because I'm like, the left side's going to hurt the most, because for some reason my left side hurts. Going. I'm like, alright, yeah, just right there. They go and hit. They start to go, and I'm like, wait, let me relax. Like, that's where you need to go, but like, let me relax my shoulder first. They're like, okay. They go, miss, hit me in the lat, like right in the middle of my back, and I was like, oh, nope, you missed. And they didn't like stick it in, but they poked. So then they pulled back, and then they got ready, and they stuck it in my rear delt, pushed it in, and I was like, okay. And like you could feel it, like when you do it, you can feel it going into your muscle, into your body. It's kind of a cool and weird feeling at the same time. It's a very strange sensation, honestly. So felt that going through and everything, and then I'm like, okay, now we'll do the other side. Did the other side, and I was fine. It's just my right lat after we did it was like kind of in pain a little bit. So I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. So I laid down and relaxed, and I believe we already worked out at this point, so we didn't have to go work out. So I was just like relaxing. I'm like, okay, we're good. Like, just, gonna relax. So we did that, relaxed, and then again, like I said, on Friday, they were over again, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my glute. I was like, do you want to do it for me? They're like, no. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my glute. I did it, and the only difference was that it took forever to do my glute. Because 3 times the size, like the actual syringe is 3 times the size, and the needle's like way bigger. So like just putting it in, it was just like, I'm like, oh my god. And like it's a lot of resistance because it's like I put both, you can put both of them in with that one, so I put both the compounds in together. So I'm just sitting there, I'm like, Jesus, this is taking a while. But I've heard horror stories of people who put like multiple in and they're doing it for like almost 2 minutes, like long times. I'm like, so I'm like, me doing it for almost 30 seconds, I'm like, that's pretty common. It's just like when you're doing it, when you have a needle in you and you're just pushing it for 30 seconds, you're like, Jesus, you're like, this is never gonna end. And then I was done, cleaned it, wiped it up, and not much blood, and I was like, wow, that was easy. So the only thing from that is I have another injection Monday night, which is tomorrow night. Today is Sunday. I'm gonna do the left side, the left glute. The right glute though, you know, it's sore. I looked at it, it doesn't look swollen, and it's not red at all, like how the shoulders were. It's just like sore. So like I was sitting here watching Avengers Endgame earlier, and then when I got up after watching it, which is like a 3-hour movie, my butt hurt so much. And like driving after I did it and then had to drive like maybe an hour later. That was a terrible idea. If you're ever gonna pin your glutes, make sure you don't have to drive, especially your right side when you drive with your right leg, because that was just a pain, but like literally like trying to do that. But yeah, so honestly at this point I've experienced the worst I possibly could with injecting, so I have no more fear injecting. And yeah, so that's gonna wrap this up. You know, just how's my first week of taking anabolic steroids going, and now you guys know. And I will just keep you guys updated with this series and keep you guys updated with how the rest of my prep goes. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.
Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always